Finally, I'm back, Matthew 8. So here we go. It is so inconsistent. Matthew 8, when Jesus came down from the mountainside, large crowds followed him. A man with leprosy came and knelt before him and said, "Lord, if you are willing, you can make me clean." Jesus reached out his hand and touched the man. "I am willing," he said. "Be clean." Immediately he was cleansed of his leprosy. Then Jesus said to him, "See that you don't tell anyone, but go, show yourself to the priest. Offer the gift Moses commanded as a testimony to them." So he's offering a gift, but it's as a testimony. He's saying to the priest, showing the priest something. Not as a gift to God, not as a payment for God, not to do anything for himself, but for the priest. Offer the gift Moses commanded as a testimony to them. That people are being healed. I was healed. Maybe that's what he wants him to testify to. What do you think there, Facebook? I don't know. And you read these things and you don't, you see different things. Read it again. When Jesus had entered Capernaum, a centurion came to him asking for help. "Lord," this is a Roman soldier, calling him Lord. "Lord," he said, "my servant lies at home, paralyzed, suffering terribly." Jesus said to him, "Shall I come and heal him?" The centurion replied, "Lord, I do not deserve to have you come under my roof." He's not worthy, but just say the word, and my servant will be healed. For I am a man under authority, with soldiers under me. I tell this one, go, and he goes, and that one, come, and he comes. I say to my servant, do this, and he does it. When Jesus heard this, he was amazed and said to those following him, "Truly I tell you, I have not found anyone in Israel with such great faith. I say to you that many will come from the east and the west and will take their places at the feast with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob in the kingdom of heaven. I tell you, many will come from the east and the west and will take their places at the feast with Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, the kingdom of heaven." So he's saying outside of Israel, people will come to the feast. But the subjects of the kingdom will be thrown outside. So Israel will be thrown outside, the subjects. So here's an outsider that Jesus is saying is welcoming. And he's saying the insiders, you better be careful, you better pay attention. But the subjects of the kingdom will be thrown outside into the darkness, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Then Jesus said to the centurion, "Go, let it be done just as you believed it would." And his servant was healed at that moment. Do you believe these things? I think Jesus sounds pretty convincing. Who in the world acts like that? Nobody in the world. When Jesus came into Peter's house, he saw Peter's mother-in-law lying in bed with a fever. He touched her hand, and the fever left her, and she got up and began to wait on him. I just saw on The Chosen, which you should definitely check out. It's a free series about Jesus, so they are going through Luke. I just saw that scene where Peter's mother-in-law was healed. Really good first season. Binge it. It took me 2 runs at it to finish. So binge The Chosen. You can get an app, you can download it, you can watch some of it on YouTube. When the evening came, many who were demon-possessed were brought to him, and he drove out the spirits with a word and healed all the sick. This was to fulfill what was spoken through the prophet Isaiah. He took up our infirmities and bore our diseases. So when I talk to the students, what 3 things did Jesus do? He cast out demons, he healed the sick, and he taught. He testified, he showed signs of who he was. I think that's what I was telling him. When Jesus saw the crowd around him, he gave orders to cross to the other side of the lake. Then a teacher of the law came to him and said, "Teacher, I will follow you wherever you go." Jesus replied, "Foxes have dens, and birds have nests, but the Son of Man has no place to lay his head." Another disciple said to him, "Lord, first let me go and bury my father. Then I'll be right with you, Jesus." But Jesus told him, "Follow me and let the dead bury their own dead." I really like that phrase, and I like the idea that we come to Jesus and we say, "Look, let me just fix some things up, then I'll follow you." And Jesus is like, "Yeah, I don't believe you. Just follow me. You don't have to take care of this important business." I have to use my quote fingers. But we have all kinds of excuses. There was a joke or something, somebody said, a funny story that said somebody was making an excuse about going somewhere. And the person said, "Look, any excuse will do if you don't want to go. You might as well say it's raining. You might as well say there's a dust in my eye. You might as well say I need to let my cat out. I've got to go bury my dead father." Any excuse. So Jesus, and that's a good excuse. I've got to bury my father. Jesus says, yeah, let the dead bury their own dead. Man, that's one to wrestle with. Then he got into the boat and his disciples followed him. Suddenly a furious storm came up on the lake so that the waves swept over the boat. But Jesus was sleeping in the storm. I'm going to talk about Jesus in the chaos. The disciples went and woke him, saying, "Lord, save us. We're going to drown." They said that rather urgently. "Lord, save us. We're going to drown." He replied, "You of little faith, why are you so afraid?" Then he got up and rebuked the wind and the waves, and it was completely calm. And I love, "Settle down, waves. What in the world? You're scaring my children." What is that? Who is like this? Settle down out there, wind. Quit your blowing and huffing and puffing. They were amazed and asked, "What kind of man is this? Even the winds and the waves obey him." Yeah, no kidding. They're looking right at him and saying, "What in the world?" When he arrived at the other side, this is the ending little section here. When he arrived at the other side in the region of Gadarenes, 2 demon-possessed men coming from the tombs met him. They were so violent that no one could pass that way. "What do you want with us, Son of God?" they shouted. Some demonic voice, probably. "Have you come here to torture us before the appointed time?" The appointed time. And the demons know it's not the appointed time. Maybe. Some distance from them, a large herd of pigs was feeding. The demons begged Jesus, "If you drive us out, send us into the herd of pigs." Which is crazy in its own right. He said to them, "Go." So they came out and went into the pigs, and the whole herd rushed down the steep bank into the lake and died in the water. Those tending the pigs ran off. Yeah, that would be terrifying. Went into town and reported all this, including what had happened to the demon-possessed men. Then the whole town went out to Jesus, and when they saw him, they pleaded with him to leave their region. "We don't need any of this going on anymore. Please just move along." And that's a response to Jesus. That's a perfectly reasonable response. You scare me too much. You're going to ask too much of me. I have other things to do. I have my dead father to bury. There's all kinds of things to say to Jesus, and they're all reasonable. You make your choice. I don't know. There it is, Matthew 8. See you next time.